What's happening, good people? Uncool here. I just wanted to bring this article to you because I was just up scrolling and saw this craziness. Like, oh, the people need to know. We've been talking about this forever. The domestic requirement for the taxone is coming eventually. This was reported by the Huffington Post. Fauci says taxone requirement for domestic air travel should be seriously considered. The infectious disease expert suggested that a CV taxone requirement for domestic air travel would incentivize more people to get vaccinated. Let's read this. This was just reported December 27th. Dr. Fauci said a CV taxone requirement for domestic air travel should be seriously considered as the Omicron variant spreads across the globe. Appearing on MSNBC's Morning Joe on Monday, the director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases argued that making COVID-19 vaccination mandatory for flights within the U.S. would encourage more people to receive a taxone, pointing to similar requirements to attend universities or work at certain companies. When you make a vaccination a requirement, that's another incentive to get more people vaccinated, he said. If you want to do that with domestic flights, I think that's something serious that seriously should be considered. The U.S. currently requires most international travelers coming into the country to be vaccinated against COVID-19, but has no such rules for travel within the U.S. Fauci stopped. It says topped, but I'm thinking that might be a typo. Fauci stopped short of saying he'd publicly recommend the change to President Joe Biden, who earlier this month said he wasn't yet planning to implement the policy. Yet. I mean, they've been tossing around this idea for quite some time now. So it'll be here eventually. Fauci also addressed the issue of a taxone mandate during an appearance on ABC's This Week on Sunday, similarly arguing that the main goal of the policy would be incentivizing vaccination and pressing that it is crucial for individuals to still wear masks on planes despite the advanced filtration systems on most aircraft. Let's check this out.
Let me ask you about something else from the president's interview with David. David asked about the lack of a vaccine requirement for air travel. There is no vaccine requirement for domestic air travel in the United States. And when the president was asked, should there be one, he said that his team has said it's not necessary at this point. Do you agree with that there shouldn't be a vaccine requirement for domestic air travel?
Well, it depends on what you want to use it for. I mean, vaccine requirements for people coming in from other countries is to prevent newly infected people from getting into the country. A vaccine requirement for a person getting on the plane is just another level of getting people to have a mechanism that would spur them to get vaccinated. Namely, you can't get on a plane unless you're vaccinated, which is just another one of the ways of getting requirements, whatever that might be. So, I mean, anything that could get people more vaccinated would be welcome. But with regard to the spread of virus in the country, I mean, I think if you look at wearing a mask and the filtration on planes, things are reasonably safe. We want to make sure people keep their masks on. I think the idea of taking masks off, in my mind, is really not something we should even be considering. That's what we meant by it depends on what the goal of getting people vaccinated before they get on a domestic flight.
Yeah. And of course, the airline CEOs were suggesting that, that we may no longer need a mask. I hear you loud and clearly. You disagree with that on the airplane.
Yeah. Of course he wants diapers. Forever, one of us. Fauci's remarks come as the Omicron variant spreads rapidly across the U.S., accounting for the vast majority of new CV infections in the country. I mean, how do they know that? Are there tests specifically geared toward identifying variants? Who knows? It has an extraordinary capability of transmitting very efficiently from person to person. I mean, listen to this guy. It sounds like he's excited about it. It sounds like he's getting off on these numbers. Oh my goodness, these people are weird. Scrouchy said on MSNBC of the scariant, urging people to take precautions and get their booster seat doses if they haven't yet. It's not something to be taken lightly, he said. Yeah, that's what's going on, folks. I just want to hop on here real quick and bring you this. This conversation is being tossed around. I mean, people like to ignore it, but if this thing looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, I don't understand why we're calling it a horse. It's shaping up to be the MOTB. I'm just saying. All right, well, the paranoia is most certainly uncool. I am out.